it comes to relationships, they say communication is key, and that couldn't be more true for parents and their kids. But knowing what to say and how to say it can often leave mums and dads stumped and silent.
That's right. Now, today, help is at hand in the form of psychologist, lecturer and writer Collett Smart. Her new book is assisting parents to tackle uncomfortable but still very important topics with their children.
And Collett Smart joins us live in the studio. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Now, before we get into specific topics, and we've got a comprehensive list here, what do parents need to remember before even starting a conversation with their teens? Keeping in mind we both want to stay at the table.
Yes.
Right?
I think it's about establishing your values to start off with. So as a family, pick 3 values that are important to you and then be prepared with those and frame your conversations around those. So kindness, courage, justice, those kind of conversations that underpin everything. And then be okay if you don't know everything. Say to your kids, you know what, I actually haven't thought of that or heard about that. Do you mind if, just give me a day and we'll talk about it. Ask your kids what they know already before you launch into something, and then also know you can revisit your topics. This is not a one-off the talk that we used to have when we were young.
Right. Yeah.
It's ongoing conversations that will change at every age and stage of your child's development.
Do you need to keep the conversation ongoing?
Yes,
is that
you
important?
do. Yes, it's so important to just keep it open. It's about building relationship with your kids where they feel they can trust you with the big stuff.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's tackle one of the big topics first, and that's pornography. What do you think parents should do when they first discover that their kids have seen porn?
So I talk about breathe. That's actually broken down into a whole lot of areas, but literally really breathe. I don't think any parent is ever prepared, even though in your head you think you are. That time when it slams into your home, it's a shock. You're never prepared for your child's innocence to be gone. But then when it happens, take some time, think about how to approach it, read a lot, and then reassure your child. You say to them, I know, look, this is what I've found, or this is what I've seen. You're not dirty or bad or evil. I'm so glad you came to talk to me, or tell them what you noticed. And then say to them, look, now that it's come up, we're going to have lots of conversations about this. Check technology now, and don't threaten to ban their technology, because they will never come to you again.
It's so dangerously simple for kids to click on something and end up somewhere else so quickly. Porn's becoming the primary source of sex education, and it's different to what we wanted them to know about the birds and the bees. It was a gentle lesson, easy to explain and understand, and now it's not. How can parents or teachers undo what the kids have seen, so that their lessons that they've learnt, that we didn't want them to learn, and they're bad lessons? How do we undo that?
Yes, they are. So pornography is the primary sex education for many young people because we're not talking to them. So if we don't talk to them, Google's going to talk to them. And I want to talk to my children before Google does. But really it's about young people. Parents are fascinated to hear that the research says young people regard their parents as their sexuality role models. That goes against everything we actually thought. They're saying we want to hear from our parents. A Harvard study says young people are saying, stop talking about disaster prevention all the time. Tell us about love. Tell us about the difference between lust and love and like. And we've never had conversations about what it means to be an ethical person in a relationship. Young people will sit up and notice or listen when we frame it around love, and that porn is the opposite of love. It actually makes you a bad lover, not a good one.
Right. Well, let's talk about consent then. How do we teach kids about consent?
So consent, we actually can start that way before we even talk about sexual consent. This whole idea, yes means yes, is an entirely too low a bar in my standard, or in my opinion. I think little children can tell you, kindy kids can tell you, somebody will say yes to playing a game because they want to look cool, or they've been bullied, or they want to fit in. They understand that sometimes we say yes when we don't want to. So we can talk to little children about teaching them to learn body language and facial expressions. It's a life skill, not just a sex skill.
Great stuff. You've dedicated a chapter to choices and consequences. This has never been more important than now in the age of social media, right? So what's the best way to help kids learn from their mistakes, given that such a high percentage of kids will make this mistake now? It's unrealistic to think that they won't.
Yes, absolutely. Expect that our children will make mistakes. Also, in a time of YOLO, you only live once, our kids need to understand that the choices that they make will have consequences for their own lives and other people's lives. Other people matter. But in saying that, as parents, our homes are places of unconditional love. So we love them no matter what they come to us with, but we are still prepared to put in boundaries and consequences in a soft landing, I call it. Yep. Otherwise, we end up, if we are not prepared to allow our children to follow through with consequences, then we end up with entitled teenagers and entitled adults who think the world or other people owe them things. So consequences are important for parents to follow through on.
So it's okay to be strong and firm and have rules.
Yes.
You don't let them run the show.
They don't run the home.
Yeah. Now, before you go, what's your advice if kids just don't want to talk to their parents?
So, firstly, know your children are always communicating with you through body language, through what they're not saying. But there will be periods of time, often in teenage years, where our teenagers might withdraw from us. And also bear in mind, sometimes their chatter about Fortnite is their communication. The little things, or things we think are little, are big things to them. To earn the right to talk to our children, we need to listen a lot. But if our children really don't want to talk to us, then we enlist the help of mentors, grandparents, uncles, teachers who they will feel comfortable opening up to.
We are out of time. I just need a really quick answer to the question that every parent watching will want to know. Yes. What do you say when your child says, but everyone else is doing it?
Well, we invented that line, didn't we? So we say to them, not everyone else is doing it, because they're actually not. And many young people are making wise choices. So even though you might see porn, it's what you do now and the choices you do now after you've seen it that's going to affect your relationships, your brain and your development.
It's a big topic. We could talk to you for hours on that.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. For more, you can pick up a copy of Collett's book. It's called They'll Be Okay, 15 Conversations to Help Your Child Through Troubled Times.
Thank you, Collett.
She's covered, she's up to date with the vaccinations, so she just won't get it as bad. And he said, oh no, there's lots of other strains.